This is a biopolitical, biocultural festival. And the idea came up last year. It was a very serious meeting. People were really having a good time, intellectually exchanging ideas, but some of us felt that we needed to lighten it up a little bit and deepen it in terms of other dimensions, cultural dimensions, the arts and music, and there was even some wild experiment of music at the very end that Patricia Williams starred in. And by popular demand. That idea was worked on by Brendan Parent and Greg Pett, CGS staffers. Brendan is an actor. Doug is a jazz musician. And they worked on it, they consulted with people, and they made it happen for this year. And this is the experiment that we hope will elicit responses from you about how to encourage more work from the arts, from various cultural media on the issues that are important to all of us. I'd like to just take a minute to give you a few glimpses from the long history of the culture-politics link. A few examples in music: the slave songs of resistance and plans for rebellion and escape, the music of the civil rights movement. There are people's names associated: Paul Robeson, Odetta, Harry Belafonte, many others, but not just the stars in the churches, on the marches, and the picket lines. The songs of the labor movement, Woody Guthrie and his descendants. The social commentary of the blues, reggae, hip-hop, and rap. In jazz, some examples: Max Roach and Abbey Lincoln and their Freedom Now suite, Charles Mingus and his many expressions of protest in his music, Charlie Hayden and the Liberation Orchestra, and so forth. Theater, the list abounds. In art, posters, paintings, Picasso's Guernica during the Spanish Civil War, and other anti-war activities, Nancy Spiro's anti-Vietnam war murals, many other examples. And close to home, for us, an exhibit of Joanne Hughes's paintings opening in September, which includes the Egg series, large paintings, one entitled Eggs for Sale, another Eggs to Market, another The Egg Lab. And I said close to home for us. It's even closer to home for me since Joanne Hughes is my spouse, and that was a plug. In film, the mushroom cloud, the photographs of it have become the icon of the atomic age. And I had the privilege of interviewing the military camera person who did the basic films of the destruction and the effects on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Daniel McGovern. Long stories about the power of such films and the suppression of them. There's an exhibition in New York right now of the damage to the buildings, but nowhere is there, it's at the International Center of Photography, but nowhere in New York is there an exhibition of the damage to the people and the lasting damage and the tragedy unfolding in Japan right now. Yet another nuclear tragedy brings all of that to mind. The drawings of the hibakusha, the survivors of the bombing, perhaps are more dramatic than any documentary film can be, and they're available on the web. There's a site at MIT, an OpenCourseWare site where they're available. Other examples in film are Ricky Leacock, the pioneer in cinema verite, whose film, video really, November Actions, which was the MIT 1969 student protest regarding the misuse of science and technology for military purposes. And of course, you know about the use of archival materials in this marvelous series about the civil rights movement, the Eyes on the Prize series. The list is long and rich, and these materials should be more widely known. And bringing it closer to our interests, in film, the community responses in the late 1970s to the problems of laboratory safety in the new genetic technologies, known at the time as the recombinant DNA controversies, and films that I did with students at MIT in 1976. Excerpts from that will be shown tomorrow morning at the 9 a.m. session on accessing educational resources. So let's take a brief look at recent cultural developments in genetic technologies. You may remember 10 years ago there was a great celebration. The genome had triumphed. It was the beginning of the age of genetic medicine. And there were exhibitions in museums, at universities, and in major cities. Many, it turns out, were promoted or financed by the biotech industry, and a few from certain foundations that wanted to promote the aims of those industries. The themes were basically artists' response to the inevitable progress of genetic technology, the triumph in the race to decode the human genome, and the great potential of the biotech industry. There was a lot of good work in those exhibitions, but a lot of it was gee whiz, glowing bunnies, or the yuck effect. Often trivial attention was paid to, quote, bioethics as a surrogate for public participation. It was about observation rather than participation in choosing and deciding policies. Much of this neglected the context, and most of it, I think, neglected the context and accepted embedded assumptions. Basically, much of this was about selling science. Well, what's different today? You can see the playbills that each of you have in front of you. There were not menus. And if you didn't drip the sauces on them, you'll learn about the players tonight. What we'll see tonight are excerpts from films. We're going to see an excerpt from a dance. We're going to see a special presentation in addition to that. After our presentation of this, we'll have a panel up here of the people who contributed these wonderful works, and to comment on it, to engage in conversation, and to discuss some important questions about where this goes in the future and what's needed by you in your work and what you know of and what you can contribute to it.